So you gave $5 to our girl, huh? She had you feeling something?
Well, no, I felt bad for her fucking vocal cords. So she was sitting like that because she came on AM Joy and she's sitting there like, I'm sorry, I just had to do a line. Why do I sound okay? Why do I sound like Bernie? I can only do one presidential voice.
Maybe that's what she's trying. She's like, maybe if I just sound like Bernie Sanders,
And maybe
they'll elect me.
Maybe I'll be able to get some of those
Elizabeth Warren.
delicious roses that everyone's been talking about. Okay, but yeah. So I gave Elizabeth Warren $5 because I honestly I heard what she said, and honestly, I feel like $5 is nothing. And she was like, "Look, if you like what you hear, if you like what you hear, chip in $5. Just go to egomaniacal.com. Chip in $5.
Also, help me with my health care.
Also, I need Medicare for all." I was like, "Girl, go get that larynx check." Like you.
It was funny because she was like, Joy was like, "Oh, and tell us what happened to your voice, like whatever." She's like, "Yeah, well, I've done over 100,000 selfies, and it seems that I caught the flu or caught a cold from
one of these
one
nasty
of the people in my life." I was like, "Wow, Liz, you're just gonna blame us?"
Yeah, it was your fault. Y'all nasty.
Look, you just wanted a photo, Liz.
And the funny thing is that
wanted to be in line.
Funny thing is that like the opposite of that with Donald Trump is that like he's a germaphobe. And he actually would never in a million years do a fucking selfie line kind of thing. So she's like even like the complete opposite of him in that respect. Like the ability
I will submit myself to y'all's nasty germs.
Because and the thing is that I will look at sometimes I look at the selfie line picture she's taking and I look at the people like and I'm like, y'all got a sickness. Like you got a cold, I can tell. And you all up in her face.
All up in her face. Hi, I'd just like to talk to you about
no, I don't need you. I don't need your speculum, whatever the fuck it's called, your spit. And like getting on my lip, on my bottom lip, and then I actually actually rub my lips together, and with Corona.
Yeah,
it's like that. But like I'm like, you got to take care because you can't be out. And the thing is that she didn't even take like vocal rest. Like you can't be the president and end up with polyps on your fucking vocal cords.
I know, right? We need you out here,
girl. Take a break.
Look, I also need her to not be taking no breaks, okay?
So wait, so y'all nasty asses got on that line, because you've gone on the line with her like 4 or 5 times. You got like 18 fucking selfies with her. Like
I have 2.
She knows you now. She's like, stop. Okay. She's like, hi, Kyle. Come on.
Hey, Kyle, come on.
Come on, let's take the photo again.
Let's do this. How's your mom? Good.
Hey, how's she doing?
Tell Malik I said hello. Thanks for the $5.
How's the Rocky? Here goes. Did he get the treats?
How's the podcast going? I swear I'm going to come on when I get a chance.
Yeah, like, what is she? Like,
all right, sweetheart. Done with the photo. I'll see you later. See you the next one.
Yeah, like, thanks.
Like, she should just be like, yo, have you gotten your flu shot? Like, I'm not taking any photos with y'all.
Like, hi, if you haven't been, please, if you don't have healthcare for all, I'm not going to be able to do a photo with you. But yeah, but like I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to chip in these $5 because she was sitting there and she sounded sick. And, she sounded really ill. Like, there's just something about, like, this old white lady sitting here, like, if you just believe in what I have to say, just go to ElizabethWarren.com and chip in $5.
Just $5.
Look, I'm trying my best. I actually do have a New York accent slightly, so it's just hard for me.
It's hard to get out of that.
To, like, not be, like, chip. I can't do a Boston or no. She has like a Southern accent. Like,
well, yeah, it's that Oklahoma.
Go ahead, chip in $5. Chip in $5. Chip in $5. Like she sounds like something in my head. Like so. Go ahead, chip in $5. We should do like a skit episode, like where we just like have like the candidates do a debate, a mock debate, and just like do the voice debate. Why don't you just go in and go in it?
But it would have to be among the candidates that we've mastered their voices. So
no,
Bernie
or even worse, be the ones who we have not mastered their voice. Just like, just have not mastered their voice. Like, hi, I'm Tom Steyer.
I'm like, are you?
Like, you're not. Like, you're not even trying. It's like, hi, I'm Pete Buttigieg. Hi, and as somebody like Michael Bloomberg. Listen, I want to tell you.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
I apologized, all right?
I apologize to the blacks.
So shut the fuck up.
And I gave you $1 million.
Here's a fuck up. What else do you want? You want $2 million? You want $3 million?
Take it.
You know you need the bag.
Kill the bag and shut up.
As somebody who's worked with Obama, the president,
my buddy Barack,
my best friend, the president Obama, Michael Bloomberg is no Obama. I'm waiting for him to have that moment. Like, I've met Obama.
You know they're absolutely
Obama is a friend of mine.
Yes. And you, Mr. Bloomberg,
Are
are
no Obama.
You know he's absolutely waiting for it. His team is
I
definitely
know this man.
prepping him for
who
it.
was sitting there working his ass off
Oh, that's a Biden.
to pass trade deals while this motherfucker was sending you.
Locking black people up.
I can say it because I have the support down south.
Look at the polls.
Leisha Kant's Bottoms. Don't know her name. But I know it's Bottoms. She endorsed
the
me.
Bottoms in Atlanta endorsed me.
The Bottoms of Atlanta.
Atlanta Bottoms endorsed me.
I think you guys are stupid as fuck. There was no Russian collusion. You can suck my dick. Trump 2020, bitch.
Right.
Well,
Look, welcome back, everyone. Look,
What up,
you know what? Y'all know us. So, so we are actually up right now. So there's a little, our vocals sound a little different. We're actually in Albany right now for caucus weekend. We were actually going to take a break this week, but we realized, like, after you start a show, like, we literally just start releasing episodes again, and then all of a sudden, like, we're going to take a little break.
It seems a little lazy.
It's a little lazy.
We don't want to be lazy. We don't want to project that energy.
We don't project that energy. We want to let y'all know we're always going to be here for you.
Yes, keep us working for you.
Keep us working for you. I'm doing the Bill Clinton thumb. We are here for you. So we are up here in Albany.
Up in Albany, it is caucus weekend.
Caucus weekend. The
49th. Colloquially referred to as caucus weekend,
Yeah.
but officially it is the 49th.
The Nisabra. The Nisabra Purple.
The New York State Association of Black and Puerto Rican Legislators, which is a separate nonprofit organization from my caucus, but all the same folks. Disclaimer. This is their 49th annual legislative conference, much like the Congressional Black Caucus in Washington, D.C. So we're up in Albany.
We're having a great time.
Good time.
We just sort of like we brought everything up. We were like, we might do an episode, we might not, but we are here, about to get ready for the gala
giving
tonight.
The people what they want,
and we're gonna give y'all a little bit what you want. And what you obviously want is to know that Bloomberg is a racist.
So shit. I will say, I feel like there's a lot of energy around Bloomberg, and I'm a bit concerned about it. And when I say energy, I mean
paid energy.
Well, no, when I say energy, I don't just mean the people who are like, we're supporting him. I also mean the energy from the folks who are like, fuck Bloomberg, who are like bringing up, videos and past interviews, and which, like, obviously, okay, you have to match energy with energy. And if he's putting out ads and doing all this other stuff and, rising in polls, and it looks like I think he has like one poll level, like threshold left to make in order to make the new requirement.
So in order for him to go on the debate stage, I think like when this episode drops, ostensibly, as quiet as it's kept.
Sometimes it's
hit or miss. But I think he has to get 10% in one more qualified poll by Tuesday.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll find a way to get him, because ultimately, like, he needs to be on the stage. Because you're right. There's this energy around Bloomberg right now. There's this conversation. We're talking about him. He's like, we talked about him last episode. We're talking about him this episode. Like,
we're out and about talking.
Yeah.
And like he's
he's
top
a
of mouth
topic
for everybody.
on everybody. We're here in Albany, and that's always the next conversation. Oh, Bernie. Like, one of the things I have taken away, and it's actually is a kind of a conversation around the fact that I do not believe Buttigieg or what's her name, or Klobuchar are doing particularly well with black voters, because we're here with black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, everybody, actually. We got a little bit of everything up here. People of color up here. And nobody's talking about Buttigieg. Nobody's talking about Klobuchar. But it's not even on mine. But the conversation is Bloomberg, some Biden, he failed. Warren, what's going on with her?
Right.
Bernie, obviously, he's rising. It looks as though he's going to be the nominee. But, like, the conversation around Bloomberg is really difficult because, like, this week has that video dropped, or this past week, that video dropped where he was basically saying that black people, you just Xerox their fucking faces and just Best, that's how you know who the criminals are. And this is, mind you, he says, "Oh, this is 5 years ago," as though he wasn't 70 fucking 3.
Right, exactly.
Right, like I'm still being held account for shit I did 5 years ago.
I still got student loans
Navient,
that I took out.
Sally Mae.
Hello.
It's like I wish I could just be like, I apologize.
You know what? I apologize for taking out those loans.
I apologize for taking out those loans.
I knew not what I was doing.
I apologize.
Now that I know better, I will do better.
Yeah.
And so let's just
apologize.
forget about it.
Yeah,
Take
forget
this
about
apology.
it. Just let it go.
You don't need the
Endorse me.
$100,000. Take the apology.
So that came out, and this, and we all knew his apology was bullshit. Like everybody said that, but we all knew his apology was bullshit. But this came out.
Well, but what the apology does is allows the people who want to be able to have something to hold on to, right? Like they want the Bloomberg money, they want whatever it is, and it's like, oh, but all right, Mike, you got to give me something. Make an apology and allow me to be able to be like, well, he apologized, and he's committed to doing XYZ, and we got to get Trump out the White House, as if. As though where did it become conventional wisdom that only Bloomberg could be Trump? Like, I'm very confused.
I think the Bloomberg conversation, I think the weird thing about that is that, like, yes, and that's why it's, like you said, I think it's nerve-wracking because he is topic of conversation across the board, and a part of that is it always reverts back to like, oh well, he knows Bloomberg, he's been in that, like, he knows Trump, he's been in New York, he's a billionaire like him, he's better, right. And I think there is this idea that okay, he can spend untold amounts of money, and if he does that, then he can go mano a mano with Trump, and I'm like, why is that the conversation? Actually, Trump didn't spend that much of his own fucking money, whatever he has, last cycle. I honestly think that, like, there's a false, and I believe it's because he's paying for it, there's this false narrative that he somehow is some kind of gifted elected who there's no way he'll lose to Trump. And I don't believe that to be true. I believe that I believe that if he really wanted to fucking beat Trump, he should have run against him in the fucking Republican primary.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been the real conversation is who in the world can beat Trump in the Republican primary. Right. But instead he's coming here, he's going to try to buy this election. After this video came, got leaked, and on top of all the other shit that's come out.
Right, yeah. I mean, and all the other shit that doesn't need to be leaked. Yeah. It's just straight up, like, what interviews that he's done and shit that he said, and, Yeah, because
he said some reckless, he's always said some reckless. He's always said some reckless shit. Yeah. Like, he has always been reckless with the mouth. I remember during Hurricane Sandy, he was like, they asked him, hey, what do you say to people who are, struggling with resiliency, who are living by the water, with this storm, how are they going to survive? He was like, well, look, people pay a premium to live by the water. Maybe they shouldn't spend so much. Maybe they shouldn't pay so much money to live by the water. Like, he was like, you're the one who wanted to live by the water.
Best a view.
He wanted a view. Water, so now you got a view of a hurricane.
In your living room.
But so he's always been reckless, but he sounded like that was what he believed. It wasn't about stop and frisk, right? Because we know what he did. He can say, I apologize, I didn't know. That's bullshit. You know how you knew? Because you were constantly being sued. Yeah. That's how you knew.
People fought the shit.
You were being sued.
It was in court.
It was ruled unconstitutional.
Right. The next mayor campaigned against it.
Yeah,
and
like,
won. Like,
you'd be like, I had no idea. Is insane to me. So we know that your apology is fake there. But then what you hear was this argument that I was just doing what I could do. I was doing what I believe was the right way to sort of help policing. What he said, though, was that I believe that black and brown people are dangerous.
Right.
That just look
by
at them.
very nature of them being black and brown.
That minority communities are violent communities, are criminal communities, and that is what I believe. And he believes that at 73, and now he's 78. And oh my God, that was 5 years ago. Yeah, how I couldn't have. I've changed a lot since then. Yeah. You can't teach no old dog a new trick, especially not a There was a guy on AM Joy who was like, he's stubborn, man. Well, for somebody stubborn, he seems to evolve a lot. Somebody's so stubborn.
I'm so sorry. I've learned and now I'm better.
Yeah, like, you don't know. He hasn't learned. He believes that. And so we're jumping from the pot to the fire again with this guy. But he's selling that message that he's electable, that he can beat Trump.
I don't get where it comes from. And is it just the money? Like, I guess it's just the money, right? Yeah. Like, I truly, like, I want to talk to more people and, like, people who support him or are thinking about supporting him and, like, just get that question answered. Like, what is it about Bloomberg? And again, and I've said it on the show before, I worked on this 2005 campaign. I felt that for certain reasons, given where we were as a city, coming off of 9/11, all of that, and the economy crash, that there were like kind of structural foundational things that that he did well in New York City to keep us at the level where we were, but there were a lot of problems in that, obviously. But like, I don't want him as my Democratic nominee. I don't want him as my president. And I am not so convinced that he can beat Trump. And I'm very confused as to where
this narrative is coming from.
Where this narrative is coming from. Again, he's probably paying for it. But like, how are we latching onto it?
Yeah.
But like, I just don't get it.
Well, I mean, he made sure after this to make sure all the black endorsers came out. So Greg Meeks, who's the Queens County Democratic leader,
congressman
from Queens, who's facing a challenge from, a very active challenger, DSA challenger, an attractive challenger. But like, he's facing a challenge. And so he came out and he endorsed Bloomberg right after this tape came out, which makes me believe that endorsement was in the works.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, we need it right now.
And they're like, all right, we're ready for it. Yeah. Which is what you do.
But it was also like, it was Greg Meeks, Lucy McBath from Georgia. You have a bunch of people. You have a list. Like, you have Muriel Bowser, DC mayor.
Yeah.
You have a couple congressional.
So
Black
Bobby
Caucus
Rush.
Bobby
right?
Rush.
Yeah. So he definitely tried it out. As many of these, like,
Tim Gunn.
Tim Gunn.
Make it work.
And
Make it work. Stop and frisk them. Make sure to stop and frisk.
Get back to me on that. But yeah, I mean, and even some here in New York, right? Like, I have members of my caucus that have endorsed him. Clive Vanell from Queens, Taylor Darling from Long Island. He's got the new mayor in San Francisco.
Yeah, London Breed.
Who kind of barely won her seat. Compton's mayor, Asia Brown. Like,
Stockton mayor. Like, some people from like
DC mayor. Actually, I read an article recently that was floating the DC mayor, Muriel Bowser, as a VP choice for him. I was like, really, y'all? This
y'all it's just like that VP.
And they're just like throwing names
Hillary
out
Clinton's
there. Yeah, it might be Hillary.
Choice.
It could
like,
be Michelle Obama.
What is going on? Like, I feel the thing is that with this Bloomberg shit, I feel like I'm living in bizarro world.
Yeah, well, with Trump in there, we absolutely are.
Like, we've created this. Trump has destabilized the political world so much that all rules
we don't know how to act.
Everything's out the fucking door.
And everyone's like, maybe we should do this crazy ass shit of nominating Michael
a Republican
Bloomberg.
billionaire. Like, we were at the beginning of this cycle, we were having a conversation about how billionaires and millionaires need to be taxed.
Yeah.
How billionaires and millionaires are the problem, and this is why there's been an economic pain
inequality
in the Midwest, in urban communities. We were that was where the Democrats were selling.
Yeah.
And everybody seemed to be on board with that message. There was a fight from Biden and from other people, but it was on different degrees of the same fucking fight.
The same,
we still agreed that, like, there's something wrong.
Yeah, too much is at the top.
Yeah.
Right.
That rich people are getting richer, poor people are getting poorer, and the system has just become so untenable where they've hoarded so much wealth that it's now it's a part of the social contract that we enter into as people that says, natural law says, look, you have what I can't take. That's natural law. And so we create governments to be arbiters of a social contract that says that, look, Kyle's wearing these jeans that I really like. I can take that from him. No. Why? Because we have a social contract that says that it's illegal. What's yours is yours. And if you want it, you have to go through these systems. And we create government to be able to keep that contract together. And a part of that contract is that now we have people, and actually a very small group of people, including Michael Bloomberg, who have so unbalanced the system that all we're saying is the government needs to maybe just say, hey,
come on, guys.
A little out of control.
We're gonna take a little more.
We're gonna take a little more because
obviously this out a bit.
Especially because billionaires don't need.
Ridiculous.
We don't need American workers anymore because of a globalized economy.
And the type of industries that are leading, like,
they don't need it anymore.
A bunch of people sitting in a factory, hammering out widgets.
So where you have to make the people happy, like back in the days with Henry Ford and shit. If your staff, if your guy on the assembly line died, that literally could fuck up your business.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, I'll just send it to China. Yeah. So billionaires also have less of a connection to the American worker,
actual people and workers,
than they used to.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Like, a lot of people that have the money that they have is because they're moving paper around. They're moving funds around. It's like
finance is an industry. What the fuck that means?
Yeah.
Like, just the business
guessing
of money,
the worth of things. It's
like
wagering against money.
Yeah, like shorting this out and playing this game. And so it's just basically there's a major industry that's just about gaming out how money is made and how money is spent. And if you can get more of it than the other guy, then great.
Then cool.
You great for your clients and for your hedge fund. But ultimately, like, we were having this conversation that was a real conversation. Everybody agreed, I felt like, that billionaires and millionaires were a problem. And then suddenly, Michael Bloomberg's in here, and all of a sudden,
he's like, hey, I heard you talking about billionaires.
Yeah. Remember, like, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates being like, there's this anti-billionaire tone coming from you know, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. I think they might have got on a fucking conference call.
Yeah.
It was like, hi guys, get on the group chat.
So, right.
Like they have a billionaires group chat.
Text,
like,
and
it's just like dollar signs. It's like billions.
They're like, hop on over.
There's
some things to discuss.
Yeah. It's like, you know, if you need some help, he's like, I don't need your help. Well, we know you don't need our help. Fuck you, Mike. Okay. Fuck you, but we're happy you're doing this. It's like,
thank you.
And so I feel as though we're living in another time where, because this is an entire irrational switch up of what I believed was our democratic values at the start of this race.
Yeah, no, you're right. You know, and I've talked about this before. Like, I've been cool with the fact that there have been as many people as there are in the race, or have been in the race. Obviously, we've seen people drop out. But the whole purpose of the primary is to, like, clarify that message, clarify the messenger, you know, see who's going to be strongest, especially in a year like this when you're going up against an incumbent, see who's going to be the strongest against that incumbent. But ultimately just let the primary process play out. But I think that, like, and especially we have to keep in mind, we're in this age that's still fairly new, and we're still trying to figure it out, of, like, just constant information and, like, you know, 24/7 news and, like, news becoming entertainment. And so as we try to figure out how to navigate that world in all these various election cycles, now adding in the fact that we're in the era of Trump and all of that, like, you know, like, so much of the conversation in this Democratic primary has been about electability. And essentially what you're saying
and voters try to game out
the
like
essentially
as
what you're
though
doing,
they don't have power.
Right. Like,
the voters being like, who's am I going to vote for?
Oh my God.
You get to make that
decide.
choice. You don't have to game it out.
Right. It's like every single individual voter in all these random places
is over here a political analysis.
Is being a political analyst and saying, well, you know, the voters in Timbuk fucking too may think that this is electable.
Will he be able to win Wisconsin?
Right.
You don't have the fucking skill set to make that fucking decision. Who do you want?
Who do you like? Who do you think suits you and the country best? Go out and vote for her, and that's it. Like, and so it's
zing.
You like that?
Another, just chip in. If you like what you hear, go to ElizabethWarren.com.
$5 or $10.
Spend $5 or $10 or $1,000
or
a million
or a billion.
Mike, I'm not gonna lie. $1 billion.
Come on, Mike, I'll take $1 billion.
But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, just if everyone would just shut the fuck up and just vote for the person who you'd like best, and stop trying to think about who is electable, because the person who we elect is fucking electable. Barack Obama wasn't electable.
He wasn't electable.
Trump wasn't electable. A woman wasn't electable, and we didn't elect her.
Although
but she got
more
the
people
most
voted
votes.
for her,
right? So you can clearly make the case that she
the
was
American
electable.
people wanted her to be the president.
Right.
It's
More
just
fucking people
not in the
voted
right
for her.
places.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that plays a role in how we got here. I think at this point in the primary, because I mean, when else have you seen people getting into the race so late? Right? Like, Bloomberg got into the race long after he'd already said, "I'm not going to run."
Speaking of late people, Deval Patrick dropped out.
Yeah,
because he
and I was
don't
going
got
to say
Bloomberg
that
cash.
too. Right? Exactly. You know, Bloomberg got in because, you know, he felt that for whatever reason Biden wasn't doing well, which clearly we've seen seems to be the case. Deval Patrick, I don't know why he chose to get in, but that's just fucking embarrassing.
It was fucking humiliating.
But he's already dropped out of the race.
It made him seem like he's a little off.
Yeah.
Like,
bro, why'd you do this?
What was your fucking, what was on your, like, I didn't realize, I always thought he was Obama-esque, and now I got him, he got me thinking he's Steyer-esque.
Exactly. Just without the Steyer or Bloomberg money.
Yeah.
But, like, the point I'm making there is, like, the fact that people even thought, like, let me continue looking at this, and you know what, I'm going to jump in the race at this late time, is like, what is the reason for this just, like, turmoil, this uncertainty.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to every single individual person.
And it's showing in the primaries.
Yeah, like questioning and will it be this
Bernie
person?
got
will it
that.
Be that?
What you call it?
Klobuchar.
Klobuchar's winning, even though she's coming third and fourth every fucking time.
Right,
You're
not even
winning.
third. Oh, well, yeah, no. What was
She
it?
came in third in
fourth,
New Hampshire,
fourth
and
in Iowa,
fourth in Iowa,
and then third.
Yeah, like
in New Hampshire. Yeah,
you're no. I'm sure they come in fifth in Iowa. Yes, because
right. That's right. Because Biden was fourth.
So
you move from fifth to third, and that's a huge
you're a winner.
Story.
In no other year, like voters are so confused because we're in fucking analysis fucking paralysis.
Yeah,
where every voter is a fucking pundit.
No
every voter went to fucking.
thinking about what do I just want. They're thinking about what does the person next to me want.
Every voter went to the fucking Harvard Kennedy School apparently.
Right,
and
exactly.
everybody seems to be making these kind of decisions. And instead of saying that like we can face off against a billionaire monster like Donald Trump or the billionaire class like Michael Bloomberg, we can decide who wins. There are more of us. This was after when Obama, and I think we're still traumatized, and that's the downside of this Trump administration.
One of the many.
One of the many, but it's we're collectively in some kind of post-traumatic syndrome as a country, and now we're scared. It's like when I think about like in my 20s, I used to just jump into things. I used to like take risk, take opportunities, go out there and try new things, and then you get your heart broken a few times, you get fired a few times, and you're like,
all right, let me.
And then all of a sudden,
recalibrate.
Because you thought, oh, you're invincible, and then all of a sudden you start over calculating and over analyzing and starting to say, all right, I do want this. You know what you want in your heart, but you're like, well, I'll fail if I do. Like you have no data to back that up. Just because one time you've been hurt before, and you're holding it. And I feel like our country collectively, because we went into that 2016 election as a nation totally convinced,
just
that
knowing.
Her poll numbers were better than his. This guy's a fucking nut job. This is the apprentice guy.
Not winning.
No. Right. Also, we knew we had the demographic strength. We knew we had more numbers. We were being told that there's no chance Democrats can win. As a matter of fact, after Obama won in 2012, there was we could lose. After 2012, there was this whole conversation that the Republicans, remember, they did
we're
that
never
autopsy?
coming back.
Republicans did an autopsy.
Oh yeah. And then they threw it out.
They threw it out. It was like they'll never come back. The demographic shifts of this nation have shifted so far that Democrats will consistently win. Yeah. And I think we went into that energy feeling invincible in 2016. And I remember that feeling because you and I talked about it after it happened. And like that night, I remember when going to sleep because I saw Pennsylvania was too close to call, and I was like, nah,
not doing this.
I went to bed and I knew what was happening. I woke up and like my grandmother called, my mother called. They were in tears. Like I was like, you saw we are fucking traumatized because we don't know how this happened to us, and we're constantly being hurt by this man. Yeah, and we don't know, and now we're overly sensitive, and we're saying, okay, we have people like Greg Meeks and like some of these other black electors, like Bobby Rush, who was a Black Panther, saying that the man who, Muriel Bowser in D.C., who runs a city that is devastatingly gentrifying, even against their own push, they're trying to push back. The chocolate city is becoming white chocolate city. And all of the things that Michael Bloomberg has stood up for and has pushed and has done in New York City, where he demolished black and brown communities through stop and frisk and through other policies in order to make white people moving into these neighborhoods feel more comfortable and be able to make the property values go up in fancier luxury buildings. He demolished communities. We're still trying to deal with it. Bill de Blasio gets a lot of fucking shit because he couldn't fix what Michael Bloomberg did in 12 years. He couldn't fix it in 8 years. It's like, because Michael Bloomberg did it so fucking viciously and so efficiently that the only way to fix it would be to like kick all the white people out of New York, go back to Iowa and Ohio. Frankly, that was like as quiet as it's kept. That's even though it wasn't said well. That's the only way to fix it because Michael Bloomberg did it systematically. He was data driven.
And prolonged.
He knew what neighborhoods to target. He knew how the police should be targeting neighborhoods. And yet you have people who have. I know Gregory Meeks has to have constituents who he knows have been traumatized by the Michael Bloomberg administration and during that time. He knows people who were pushed into homelessness in his own district. He knows this, and he knows it's Michael Bloomberg's fault, and he knows that an apology is fake because he's a smart man, and he's been doing this for a while. And even if you say, all right, it's for the bag, but like this man ain't broke. Like Greg Meeks ain't out here like, oh God, I'm struggling day by day. So you got to ask yourself, like, what is it that is making people vote against what is right for themselves, for their communities? And in this whole like, oh, well, we think he can beat Trump. Anybody can beat. No, no fucking way. Like, come on.
Yeah, like I said, I don't get it. I think that folks need to stop being political analysts.
Yeah.
And vote for the person who they feel is best, is going to do the job. Vote for the person that you like. And
to quote Matt Santos from West Wing, vote for the person who shares your ideals.
There you
Remember
go.
that big speech he gave? Who shares your value? Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just play. I'm gonna put this. We're gonna
put the
edit
clip.
this clip into it. I'm gonna force y'all to listen to
Insert
this.
here.
Insert here.
Now, it's been suggested to me this week that I should try to buy your support with jobs and the promise of access. It's been suggested to me that party unity is more important than your democratic rights as delegates. That's right, it's not. And you have a decision to make. Don't vote for us because you think we're perfect. Don't vote for us because of what we might be able to do for you only. Vote for the person who shares your ideals, your hopes, your dreams. Vote for the person who most embodies what you believe we need to keep our nation strong and free. And when you have done that, you can go back to Seattle and Boston, to Miami, to Omaha, to Tulsa and Chicago, and Atlanta with your head held high and say, I am a member of the Democratic Party.
But yeah, no, it's frustrating, right? Like even like up here in Albany, there's this like place that's on the corner as you walk from the Capitol, and it's usually a vacant lot. Like I've seen it rented out briefly for like an art show or something like that, but it's normally a vacant lot. Now you walk by and it's still very vacant, but it's a Mike Bloomberg,
It's super
Albany
vacant.
headquarters.
We walked by it yesterday.
There's a bunch of signs in the window.
It was
but then
one
there's,
dude,
like,
the one black dude in there
sitting in
who's
a
making
chair.
more money than every legislator
who
in
passes
that body.
by, right?
And just
He
sitting
probably
there,
has his new iPhone and his new laptop for the Bloomberg campaign, and is just
sitting on
chilling.
a fold-out chair.
And then there was like one other person
In the
at
back.
some distant table in the
No
back.
need to be there.
Yeah,
but
like what were they doing?
But that rent is gonna be good for the economy
all year, right?
Like,
exactly.
all year.
Revitalizing the local economy.
But yeah,
But
like,
there's a bit of a, I guess, an identity crisis, which again, like I said, in a primary, that's what the purpose of the primary is, to figure out who is the party now, who do we need to be in this next election, and who needs to be the standard bearer for in that next election. And I think that with everybody kind of trying to answer that question, not just for themselves, but for the person next to them, for their neighbor, it's caused us to be all over the place, and that allows that chaos. We talked about chaos before, but like that chaos allows other people to be like, oh, maybe I can step in here and make the case. And then you have other people, because they're so kind of confused as to who we are, who we should be, who should be our messenger, that they're like, okay, I don't know, maybe a Bloomberg, right? Like there are people who legit have Elizabeth Warren as their number one choice, and then are like, okay, and then maybe Bloomberg is my second. Like, do you not understand what these two people stand for?
You do you not?
You don't,
get it?
And it's like, I want y'all to support Elizabeth Warren, but like the fact that you can support Elizabeth Warren as your first, and then Michael Bloomberg is your second, it makes me feel like, okay, what the fuck are we doing?
I think people are just like,
who are we?
We just lost. I mean, kind of transitioning to a conversation about that, like, thinking about this week, because now Michael Bloomberg could be on that debate stage, and we just got the New Hampshire primaries happened. Yeah, our predictions were wrong. So from here on out, I'm making no more fucking predictions. I don't know why I'm even making predictions. Like I'm over here, like who the fuck am I? Yeah, it's like
you just host
I'm just
a hit podcast.
I'm just host of we got to come up with a cult hit, popular, people powered
cult hit podcast. But yeah, I mean,
I'm a little confused about what is happening with this election. That's why I can't make any more predictions.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like I said, You got Michael Bloomberg, who has espoused racist ideologies with what he said about Xeroxing black and brown black people, show him a picture of an 18 to 25-year-old black boy. And I mean, I know I never got stopped and frisked because, I was just sauntering around. But like I know people who've been stopped 6, 7,
Oh yeah,
8
multiple times.
multiple
Absolutely.
times. There were more black men stopped from stop and frisk that actually lived in the city, which means that there were people being stopped over and
Multiple
over
times.
and over and over
Yeah.
again with no guns found,
Yep.
traumatized. And so we're going from one trauma with Michael Bloom with Donald Trump. We're trying to we think we're gonna fix that trauma with Michael Bloom. He'll be a different type.
Yeah.
It's like going to, like we just talked about, like going from one person you were dating who was bad for you, and then like continuing that pattern, but thinking you're changing it because the person's a little nicer.
Right.
And you ain't changing the pattern. You're just doing it differently.
Or that they just look different. Or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
But I
Well,
don't know what's going on. And so because of that, we made predictions with the New Hampshire primary. And Bernie won. We knew Bernie was going to win. But I thought Elizabeth Warren was going to come in second or surprise us. We talked about that Amy Klobuchar had a great debate performance.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so it clearly helped. And even like you were like, because you didn't watch the debate,
Yeah.
you were like, oh, I don't know. But I'm like, nah, it helps. And also it's an open primary in New Hampshire, which means Republicans
Yeah.
and independents
Yeah.
can vote. And
Exactly.
so that's why the conservatives always do a little bit better. The moderates do a little bit better
Right.
in the New Hampshire primary.
Especially in a year where you have a Republican president, and so folks who are like
Who
on
had
the
no-
Republican side who are like, well, I don't have anybody to vote for over here. Let me go play around and
Let me go
what the
play around
Democrats
over
are doing
there.
over
Yeah,
there.
and actually Michael Bloomberg got voted and won in Dixville Notch and shit, which is like the first round in New Hampshire. But long story short, I think the real story, because the media has let this go, is not Amy Klobuchar, who came in third. You lost, and yet you sold the message that you won, and still
Well,
don't know.
shit, she came in 5th in Iowa and somehow sold
Somehow
that as
still
something
there,
as well.
because we're all confused. But Elizabeth
Yeah.
Warren came in 4th and won no delegates from a state that's nearby. We talk about how we're Elizabeth Warren fans. This scares me because like she's gonna have to prove that there's some other thing going on, like that there is somehow of that, like the state that's near her state is not representative of her voting base, and so somehow she.
I mean, New Hampshire is absolutely less diverse than Massachusetts.
But like
yeah.
that may be that she'll do better with other voters, but like if she comes into Nevada and she's not able to kill it, and I mean kill it, she can't just keep coming in third and fourth. I don't care how confused this election is, because if you set the bar and say, look, these super white states, that's why I didn't do well, but now we get into non-white states, and Nevada, I would argue, is a kind of a perfect state. We were talking yesterday with Nyla and Nadia. We were talking about like how Nevada caucuses
what
might
would
need to
actually
be
be
first.
a better state to go first, and especially if you look at these states that we do start with, of the 4 that do go first, Nevada makes the most sense in terms of going first, right? Like it's the most diverse.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to see the numbers to see if it's actually more diverse in South Carolina, but I would venture to say yes.
It's more
that
like
it's probably more diverse in South Carolina.
It's more representative, I believe, of
The Democratic, I would say definitely more. It
of
looks
just
more like the Democratic Party,
the demographic
but it has
changes
so
of
many.
the country.
Yeah,
It's a growing Latino
Growing
population.
Latino population.
There's a strong black population. There are white people there. There are
Yeah,
progressives
absolutely.
there. Majority in this, unlike
It's a big, labor state.
it's a big
and
labor state, big
yeah.
union state. It's also a state where the industry is it's around gaming, hospitality. It's around more service
and
work and so on. So
then there's also that big money with when it
yeah,
comes to
and so it's interesting, and
casino
also
shit as well.
unlike
and the
it's-
entertainment industry.
yeah, and it's also not very spread out. So a good chunk of the population all exist in the
like,
Las
these couple
Vegas
areas.
area,
Right.
and so because of that, when you're actually canvassing, because actually you know where your voters are, so you can actually be more polling could actually be better in Nevada, because you can say, all right, well, we know where the vote exists in this state. So with that said, Nevada is actually better positioned, and so. Even though I'm not completely against caucuses as much as other people are, I do believe that an Iowa caucus that looks like a fucking farm, like we're doing this on a fucking farm, like where people are fucking on haystacks and shit talking, is not representative of majority of the country.
Absolutely not.
But a metropolitan yet also rural farm state like Nevada, where the top is farmy and yet the bottom is this big metropolis, is a fascinating situation with a growing Latino demographic, which is what we're seeing in the country as well. And so she got to win here, and I don't mean come in second. I don't mean come in third. She has to have a Klobuchar fucking surge.
Yeah, but even Klobuchar didn't.
Oh no, I mean like she has a surge into first place. She can't. I know we got to be honest, but I'm not gonna play this game with her. Like I know you'll rock with her until she says I'm not in this anymore.
Yeah, and I mean that's honest. Like I'm with her until she's not in it anymore. But also on top of that,
then you're with Bloomberg.
I don't. But on top of that, I don't think that she has to win a Nevada. I mean, I think that my
here
point.
We go. Y'all people be changing.
I mean,
and I just chipped in $5. I just chipped in $5,
and that's what's gonna continue to help her move forward, right? Like
I'm rooting for her. We're all rooting for you.
We're all rooting for you. But like the path is like I saw some infographic or something the other day, and it laid out the first. It was the 1992 Democratic primary election, and it laid out the first. I don't know, maybe like 15 states or something, and it listed the state and then the person who won that state, and it was like. Iowa, we talked about it before. Iowa was Tom Harkin.
Yeah.
Who else? I forgot what who all the other people were.
Oh, you
but
mean
it was like
in 92?
Yeah, 92.
Yeah, it was Tom Harkin, and I think Bill Clinton came in fourth. But that was a different.
But I'm saying like it laid out all the states,
the
first 15 states or so.
And Bill Clinton didn't actually win anything until
he won like two of the fucking states, and then it was like, and Bill Clinton ended up being the nominee. So it's like,
and that was also a confusing election, challenging a sitting president who everybody thought was unstoppable.
Yeah, but I say that to say that like I think every as much as, and again we talk about this like just constant desire to analyze everything and for everybody to analyze. Leave the analyzation to us.
Leave it to us,
podcast hosts.
Yeah, the hosts
right?
of
y'all just
podcasts. We are the geniuses here.
Yes, let us do the political analysis. But like it just I think that it goes to show that they're. Like every year, every election cycle is different. The candidates make a difference, and so their particular path to victory looks different. The amount of people that are in the race impacts everything, whether it's an open race, whether there's an incumbent, what's the deal with that incumbent, what's the economy like, So I think there's so many different factors, and given that, like. It may be because you look at a Biden, right? Like, what's Biden's strategy? Biden's strategy is like
South Carolina,
continue to hang my ass along until I get to the fourth one.
He's
right. Like, so who's to say that Elizabeth Warren's path to victory isn't, do well enough, overperform in the first, sure is disappointing in the second, but still in there. Third, do decent. Fourth, do decent. Maybe it's the fifth, and maybe it's Super Tuesday, maybe it's right because the ultimate point that I'm making is in this primary, it is a delegate race, right? So the same way, like people we love to say, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, and when it's a relevant point, we say it, but we know that doesn't make her the president.
Yeah,
because it's a delegate race. Back in 2008, when I was upset that Hillary was hanging on too long, it was because it was a fucking delegate race.
Yeah,
and Obama had just amassed the amount of delegates that made it very clear he was going to get the nomination. So it's like, girl, get out of here.
Yeah.
Likewise with Bernie and Hillary back in 2016. So in this 2020 race, it's a delegate race. Yeah. And if there are a bunch of delegates
she
to
didn't
be
win
had,
delegates.
Okay, and we've had all of 2 delegates be distributed. So if there's a day where a whole bunch, like I think the first Super Tuesday, there's like 1,600 delegates.
Yes.
They're going to be awarded that day.
Do you believe?
I don't want my candidate.
What do you believe?
No, I don't want my candidate dropping out before a day that 1,600 delegates are going to be awarded.
So what?
Now, if she comes out of there, 300 delegates, 400 delegates.
You still gonna be like, we are making the Super Tuesday too.
The second
we're gonna take it to,
there's another one.
We're gonna take it to Puerto Rico.
And Guam.
And Guam. Like I feel as though like again, I donated money to Elizabeth Warren just today. I just feel.
But if she made you feel something,
she did make me feel something.
Then I need you to rock.
That's how I do politics. By the way, I'm like it's all about my emotions. And I follow my gut, and my gut's usually right. But again, this year is actually weird. Like I said, we prefaced this when we started this part of the conversation. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
My instincts told me that Elizabeth Warren would be the nominee, and that's why I'm rocking with her to Nevada, probably through the Super Tuesday. I don't expect her to win South Carolina. If she does, that'll be a fucking surprise. In which case, I'm sure she'd take it from there.
Sail on through.
But she has some interesting states coming up. And Super Tuesday, we have California,
Virginia.
North Carolina, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
As quiet as it's kept.
Quiet as it's kept.
If Bernie Sanders wins fucking Massachusetts, we have a fucking problem for her.
Well, she has a problem.
She has a fucking problem. So she has to win home state. She has to do better than expected in California, at least enough to get some good delicious delegates.
Good amount of delegates.
And I also think looking at Virginia and North Carolina, where they go, is also going to be kind of helpful. Colorado too.
I agree. Yeah, and is Colorado on Super? That's March 3rd.
I believe so. But like she needs to. She is of all the candidates there. She is the one who would be our best president. She's the one who would
agree.
Who would be a good fucking president. Like we haven't had a good one in 4 years, or 3 years.
It's been so long. It has felt like a long.
It's felt like a long. It's been
3+ years.
But like we need like a good president, somebody who just somebody who tries to get it, somebody who gives a fuck, somebody who's smart, somebody who keeps it a stack.
Yeah.
Like. Because we talk about she keeps it a stack. When she rolled up on Bernie, regardless of what that fight was about, with her hands clamped, she was like,
right.
Like she could have. She was like, I have a problem. I'm gonna address it right here and now, right in front
here
of
on
these
the
cameras.
stage. Oh, the mic's on. Don't give a fuck.
I don't care. You said I'm a liar.
You called me a fucking liar.
We're gonna have a problem.
Let's have a conversation about
I
that.
like that shit, and I think that's the kind of leadership that we need.
Yeah.
But. Like, I don't know where she lost her way. I don't believe this commentary that it's, because she moderated a little bit on her Medicare for All policy. I don't believe that's the case. I honestly think that she lost some of her momentum. I think she's fighting with Bernie for these votes, and I don't know where her other votes are coming from.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, and because this is a narrative that I've seen pop up recently, so I want to get your opinion on it. Like, I think this narrative going around now that the non-aggression pact between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders was actually more of a one-sided non-aggression pact, and that it's actually hurt Elizabeth Warren more than it has, kind of neutralized any, beef between them or, anything, or definitely more than it's hurt, Bernie Sanders. And when I first kind of read that, I was like, that's interesting. I think it's an interesting take. Because people make the case rightfully that you have these, and we've talked about it. This like the cult of Bernie. Yeah. And you hop on Twitter, and again, Twitter's not real life. Yeah. Or it doesn't represent all of it. But it's a unique. It's a part
of a life.
Right.
Follow us on Twitter at House Party NY and at Kyle IM and at Malik Wright NYC.
There you go. But yeah, there's been this thought that like. Okay, the two of them don't attack each other, but then you hop on Twitter and
she's being attacked. The snakes,
snake emojis are being thrown at her from the Bernie emojis. Folks with the roses.
I send it to you sometimes just for fun,
just for no reason.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, what type of non-aggression pact is that if she's not attacking him, her supporters aren't by and large attacking him.
Supporters are soft
yet
as fuck.
There's y'all
are non-confrontational. Like as quiet as it's kept.
Okay, well, we're gonna need some confrontation.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to go fuck some people up.
Well,
like get wild.
Liz has shown that she is willing to fuck some people up. She rolled up on Bernie on the stage.
I agree with you. The non-aggression pact didn't help her because it was gonna be damned if she does, damned if she don't anyway. So she should have just jumped in and started creating that distance between what he believes and what's the difference between us, or why I'm a better version of what he's offering.
And I think she's done it, but it has
let her people attack her all they want and let them get it out their system back in fucking
earlier on,
back in the summer.
Yeah,
of last
so that's
year.
and I think that's pretty much the case that's being made now, right? Like while he was. Running
that little
around
fight
saying,
a week before Iowa wasn't helpful.
I'm not attacking anybody, but then he has his legion of supporters.
Yeah,
throwing
people
snake
like,
emojis.
I've never heard them being aggressive.
What are you talking about?
What?
I've been in rooms with them all the time.
I've been in rooms of Bernie supporters, and they've never
bullying anyone.
Been bullying anybody in the room of Bernie supporters. Bernie supporters never been in the room bullying Bernie supporters in the room. Huh?
What the fuck are we
saying? They are bullies. That's why that big Nevada union decided not even to endorse, because people were like, one, they did a kind of attack both Warren and Bernie.
Warren as well.
They did attack.
I don't even know if it was an attack.
It was an attack to say that you're gonna lose your union health care. Fuck that. Like, come on, guys. Like, everybody's gonna have health care. Okay,
Like that's the whole point.
that's the
for
point.
all.
For all. Like, we're all
And
gonna.
that's some Buttigieg shit.
Yeah, we're all gonna give y'all some good health care. Okay, calm the
Yes.
fuck down.
Stop worrying about where it comes from, who
Yeah,
the one
or
is
my
handing
union
it to
gives it to me. Do you really enjoy?
Okay.
I've tried to call my union for like I like unions, but it's a little a little convoluted to get that fucking insurance. So like but like so they did come for them, and then not to endorse because they were receiving threats and stuff. And I don't believe every single person. I think that sometimes they do kind of like there are trolls online. They're like, oh, it's
Of
Bernie
course.
bros. It's like, all right, not everybody.
Oh,
is
absolutely.
not everybody's from
Yeah.
the Bernie camp. Some people are Russian bots. Some people are
some
just
people are Russian about. Some
crazy.
people are just crazy.
Yeah,
and they latch
just,
on to a candidate. Yeah, there's people that I follow who support Warren or
Mm-hmm.
support other candidates, and I was like, oh yeah, I like this person, or I like what they say, or
Yeah.
oh, that's a good point, even if they're not supporting the same candidate that I am. But then they'll post something else, and it's like,
ugh, yikes.
oh, yikes.
Yeesh.
And it's not even necessarily that it's anything that like crazy, but it's just like, oh,
This doesn't align with my
okay,
values.
This doesn't align, right?
This doesn't align with
Exactly.
my value system. No, it's like you're absolutely right. Like,
So they're definitely weirdos out
but
there.
like, but Bernie's people, by and large, have this narrative is there, and you're right. Knowing that his army and legion was always going to be the most aggressive, the most vicious, they should have immediately tried to like poison the snake.
Yeah.
Like they should have immediately fucking like burnt down the fucking rose
Killed
fields.
exactly.
Burnt the fucking roses from the
Yeah.
get-go,
Yeah.
just to neutralize was going to happen regardless.
At some point, anyway.
But I
yeah.
do think that like she's faced with her back is against a wall, and unfortunately, because her back is against a wall, she has Bernie there, who honestly is starting to look like he's consolidating support, and we can have a conversation later as things get a little deeper about what the world's going to look like if Bernie is a nominee, and that's whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about
But
that,
we really have to also have a conversation about whether or not, like, if we believe my instincts tell me Elizabeth Warren should be the president, but she keeps setting these fucking standards. Iowa, she's gonna have the best organizing on the ground. No. We got to fucking New Hampshire, nearby state. Oh, have you seen her crowds? Her crowds are bigger than everybody else. No. It's like it's really kind of interesting because I feel as though like Nevada has to work first or motherfucking second. South Carolina, I'm not going in there expecting her. In fact, I would if I were her, I'd skip fucking South Carolina and go straight to Super Tuesday states and focus on that.
But it's also like you can't skip the.
I know. But then in that case, then you do need to come in third at in South Carolina. But she has to start meeting the expectations that she sets. Otherwise, people are going to start moving on who are soft followers and start saying, right, well,
no, absolutely.
the reason why sometimes I believe it's because she's a woman, but the media does ignore her a little bit because I think there is a sort of a feeling like, all right, we believed in you, but you ain't
show and prove.
You haven't shown and prove, so we're gonna move on and talk about the people who we find more interesting
for whatever reason.
Yeah, for whatever reason, which are gonna be men. But we do need to have a conversation about that.
Or they're lifting up the next woman who they will then tear down. Which is
they're gonna tear.
Klobuchar.
We're
already seeing it.
When Amy
We're already seeing
Klobuchar
it, which
comes
I'm
in fifth
not,
or sixth
fighting it,
in one of these other states, they are gonna be like, look at this
Look at
fucking
that.
failure.
Right.
Look at her. She believed in herself because they're building up a third place, fourth place winner to somehow come in first place in states that are less demographically in line with her. They know she can't win those states.
Not gonna win it.
But like it's
or
like,
even do well.
But she had that great debate performance, and like to kind of cap this off, I do believe that I want Bloomberg on that stage because I do believe that Elizabeth Warren actually, because that last debate, she kind of faded into the back. She's always her best when she has a billionaire or an oligarch or a millionaire. When she was going with her versus John Delaney,
yeah.
that was her.
Well, and you
murdering
think about
the scene.
yes, and you think about, and I think that was kind of the start to her like rise. Nationally. Soon after that, she started. She had some time, polling at number one. Nationally, but like you think about, the context in which Elizabeth Warren rose to like national prominence. It was her grilling all these like Wall Street execs after the economy failed, and people sharing those videos and all of that
going
like
viral every time she split them open,
right? Exactly. And even in her more recent days in the Senate, like just grilling executives and shit. So like, and that's what people love about her, and it shows her expertise and all of that. And I think that number one, Bloomberg can't be out here, crafting the message that he
Yep.
wants to craft, creating the nice fluffy ads that
Yep.
he wants to put in there,
Preach.
paying black people and Hispanic people and everybody and their mother to be in them and say nice things, and without being challenged
being
at all.
checked.
No one is checking him.
And if he gets on that stage, he's about to get checked.
He's about to get checked.
And Elizabeth Warren knows how to check a bitch.
Yes.
Especially a billionaire.
bitch with a bag.
Especially one with a bag. She is going, and that actually might be, this is probably what she needs. She needs Bloomberg on that stage this week.
Absolutely.
When she has that debate. Because she kind of faded into the back last time. And it's sort of the way Kamala faded into the back once she had that great moment where she cut Biden on race, and I think people
then
then
came
told her,
back
stop
afterwards.
stop that shit right
Yeah,
now.
which I fucking hate.
And I think without having me able to fight him on that, she didn't know where to fight.
Yeah, how to fit in.
To fit in. And the same thing happens. Bernie is always going to have, Bernie has his people. She's
a standout.
She's a standout, and she's great.
And the thing is, she does extremely well in the debates.
But when she had somebody who was a millionaire, who was sitting there she had somebody who was a millionaire who was sitting there and who was literally defending all the millionaires. He was being what Bloomberg is going to be.
Yeah.
She was doing really, really. She was exciting. She was funny. She was interesting,
witty.
It was fun watching his dumb face every time she cut that. After she comes like, oh, what was that famous fucking line?
She was like, I don't understand why people run for president just to stand up here and tell you all the shit that we can't do.
Yeah, and then or when he
and
like,
he just
or when
like
she rubbed her hands together, where she's like, I'm gonna tax you, and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna tax you. It's like, because of your money. It was great, and I think Michael Bloomberg's gone unchecked.
Yeah.
He's not a particularly solid.
And
debater.
honestly, right.
He's
never really been checked like that.
We don't have
what
big
Michael
debates.
Bloomberg debates have we had?
Yeah, he's never debated. He's a billionaire. He doesn't get challenged.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to debate. New York, let's be honest, Errol Lewis having you sit down on a fucking stage debating you is great. He's really good, but it isn't enough.
Yeah.
Being on a series of debates
challenged by
every week,
these strong peers, people who have been doing it
for longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would love to see her shine that way because she's very good at breaking down an argument. Maybe it's being a law professor.
Making it understandable and right.
Breaking down an argument, making it understandable, and saying why your argument is wrong. Like she's like grading your paper right in front of you. It's like this
red
is
marks
wrong.
all over this
red
shit.
marks over here, and Bloomberg needs that, and that might actually be what we see him falter because because
he's gonna get frustrated.
Biden's gonna just attack the shit out of him over race because Biden's gonna need to make. He's gonna on this debate. He's gonna just be like, "You don't like black people?
Yeah, I love them.
I love them. I would never stop him first. My best friend Obama.
I've never stopped him. I've never frisked him.
I let him stop and frisk me anytime he wants.
Any day.
Because he's a king here. But like she's gonna have this great opportunity at this debate to have a standout moment.
Yeah, well, she needs it.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree, and not even concede. It's just fact. She needs it. I didn't watch that last debate. I saw a couple clips from her as well as others. Like I went to watch Klobuchar after you said how well she did. But she needs it. Like I said, I'm not one that thinks that she needs to. I will say she cannot, in my opinion, cannot be lower than 3 in Nevada. She needs to do. I hear you. She needs to do whatever she can possibly do in South Carolina. But again, on Super Tuesday on March 3rd, there's going to be upwards of 1,600 delegates. So you got to move on to that, right?
Yeah.
Like the best that we are going to take away from these first 4 states is that like this shit is chaotic. Like, will it clarify a bit? Yes. Obviously, we started off with like 20 some odd fucking people, and so now we're for the most part down to 6.
Yeah.
So 6 or 7. So yes, the process has culled people out. But it's been in an incredibly messy way. There's still no clarity here. We got people who are just getting onto the debate stage for the first time.
Yeah.
So the first 4 states are not going to yield. Even if it's Bernie Sanders with the most delegates, which technically as of right now, Buttigieg has the most delegates, right? So like that's just like it just goes to show the way this shit by like 1, I think, by 1 or 2.
He better get some states are not going to do
They're
well for him.
not going to be good for him. Yeah, but it just goes to show that like this thing is not settled, and so we're gonna move out of these first 4 states on the ground that is unsettled, and we're gonna go into a day that's gonna allocate 1,600. So if I'm her, fuck no, I'm not dropping out before these first. I don't give a fuck what happens on these first 4.
Especially because voters are a little
it's gonna be a
confused.
mess.
Yeah, because it's already messy.
It's already messy. So we'll go into Nevada. She's had an operation there for a while. Let's do the best we possibly can. South Carolina, do what we can. Roll on out of there. Push in Virginia, in North Carolina, and in Massachusetts, and all these other states, in Colorado, and go from there. And then if at that point you can walk away, especially because just the way that they award these delegates, right? Like you get the statewide ones, but then there's delegates you get for depending on how well you do in different congressional districts, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's so many different factors. And if you walk, because it's a delegate race, if you walk out of a contest, a day, whatever, with X number of delegates that continue to move you forward, then it's like, fuck no, I'm not going anywhere. And ultimately, again, there's a long way to go before we get to the convention, and so much shit can happen. The other day, I legit thought, like, shit, maybe Kamala Harris should actually get her ass back in the race.
Woo. Oh, shit, you gonna drop bombs right as we about to end the conversation.
But, like, when I think when I see, like, an Amy Klobuchar, who has not faced, up until now, any type of, like, shit about her time as a prosecutor, yet, you and others are constantly calling Kamala a cop. It's like, okay, well, shit. And now that, fine.
Global cop.
Global cop.
I like that. Oh, shit. We just
coined that shit. You heard it here first.
Let's
get some imagery out. Social media.
Globocop.
But it's like, if we're going to throw the rules out as a Democratic Party, like we talked about at the beginning, and say that we're so confused, fuck it, let Klobocop continue to, to have a story despite the fact that she's never got any higher than third, right? Like, let a fucking Michael Bloomberg, Bloombo-cop, I don't know, like, who stopped and frisked every fucking black person that he saw, let him hop in the race and buy his way forward. Then why can't, Kamala the cop get in there too?
Yeah,
like let her get a piece.
I did have that thought, like, that's a great analysis. See, that's why I leave it to us.
Yes, leave it to us, guys. Just go vote for the person you like.
I had that thought the other day in the shower, because this is what I think about in the shower.
Yeah, this is what I do in the shower.
I'm so sad. But I thought about it in the shower. I was like, I'm a historian, like, and so for me, I'm always very much like, well, that happened before. Looking at analysis back in 92, 96,
this is
happened.
Just like that.
Yeah. But I also had the thought, I was like, maybe this is one of those years where just history is on his head. Things are just not what they used to be. This is gonna be one of those races where the person who came in fourth, fifth wins,
and then
fucking
first,
wins one state. You can still got ballot.
This may very well be an outlier year, an outlier election. We're
gonna go to a second ballot. On the second ballot, superdelegates are gonna be there.
Yeah.
Like right now, it's 1993 as far as I think for like delegates you need, or 1995, some specific number. But then it goes back to the old numbers of 23, whatever. 2,300, whatever the fuck it was last year, because superdelegates come back in the game. So we can get to a convention, and now we have superdelegates on the second ballot, and now all bets are off. Those people can just literally say, no, that person is it. Yeah. And so because of that, you're right. Oh, I never even thought about it. Like I thought about it, but I never thought about it. Like Kamala could come back in. I never thought like Kamala could pop back in. But yes, there is a circumstance where this is just different. Yeah. History has no rule. We're in the Spider-Verse. Like, we're in the fucking multiverse. Exactly. We're in a different fucking world now.
And I mean, there's pieces of shit that you can analogize to other stuff, right? Like I made the analogy before of 1992 and Bill Clinton. But like, right, again, we're in the age of Trump, and so it may very well be a year where it's like, y'all,
it's over.
Don't attempt to compare this to previous shit. Yeah. And going forward, you probably shouldn't compare other shit to this year either.
This is just going to be 2020 is a different fucking year.
Different fucking year, because we're dealing with some incredibly different circumstances. I mean,
yeah.
The hope is that we're able to get out of this era of Trump however we need to. But like, I think we also as a party need to be concerned about who we establish ourselves to be. Who do we say we are?
Yeah.
And that gets back to like, do we really want that to be Bloomberg?
All right, so y'all liking this?
You like what you're hearing?
What you're hearing?
Yeah, you like it?
You want a little more?
Yeah, you like one episode?
You're gonna get two now.
How about two?
How about two?
You want 2 episodes a week?
Fucking sessions.
How about 2 sessions a week? We can do that.
So if you want to hear exclusive interviews with some of the top leaders in our city, our state, our country, with politicians, with activists, union leaders, with
famous people,
us,
you know,
us. And you want to hear that with drinks, you want to hear that with games, and you want to hear it exclusively. That means just you get it. Then you need to go to patreon.com/houseparty.
Swipe a little $275. $275 a month.
$275 is nothing.
That's it, sure.
$275, you get a whole session that's just you. That's something you have. Yep. Nobody else will hear that except for just you.
So join us every week for our feature session
on patreon.com/houseparty. All right. So y'all know it's time for a drinking game. Drinking game. Drinking. We like to drink. Drinking game on a house party
in Albany.
So this is your weekend. I mean, well, not your weekend. It's the association. There is a differentiation.
There's a distinction. Thank you very much. I am the executive director of the Legislative Caucus, government side, not Caucus Weekend Association. But being that we are here in Albany for the annual legislative conference, colloquially known as Caucus Weekend, we're going to play a little spin on a game we've played before. It's called I'm Going to Caucus Weekend. So basically, Malik and I, again, we have been drinking. We will continue to drink. And then we're going to go to the gala and
continue to drink. I'm going to try to steal a bottle from somebody else's table. I'll tell you that.
That's just the way to do it. But basically, we are going to play this game and go through the alphabet and attempt to list,
while remembering what the other person said.
Yes, a member of the caucus.
Yeah.
In alphabetical order. We're gonna do our best.
We're gonna do our fucking best. You should win this shit.
I should. I think the key though is like there aren't.
You know what? I'm like
all the letters.
I feel I'm gonna win this.
But like, is there a member for every letter? No.
There is.
But there's gonna be a little leeway.
Let's agree to the ground rules. Leeway. First name or last name.
Yeah, first name or last name.
Yeah.
Or some clear cut
not middle
affiliation.
Name.
No, I'm not saying middle name, but like some clear cut. Like, yes, okay, it's clear that you're referencing this person.
Okay, we'll give each other that leeway.
Cool, because we may need it.
All right.
So
and if we
wait, what are we? Do we have it? Are we timing this? We time it, right?
Oh, did we time it before?
We
are not.
We have to time it.
Yeah, we have to time
it.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't time it.
I think we did.
We just like, yeah, we did time it. All right. No, okay.
We didn't, but we should have.
Yeah, we didn't, but we should have.
Yeah.
All right. So.
I say 5 seconds.
5 seconds? Oh, wow.
You don't think that's long enough? I think 5 seconds.
We weren't timing it. We were just sort of like feeling it out, but fine. We'll do 5 seconds.
All right. So, maybe 8 seconds? We're going to figure this out on the fly.
If you don't do it in time, or you just, it's a dumb fucking answer, you got to drink.
Then you have to drink, yes.
All right, get your glass ready.
Get your beverages nearby.
And all of you guys play along. Get your beverages.
Whoever you are.
Probably listening on your way to work right now. Get your drink.
Beverage.
Drink on the train.
Yeah.
Drink on your way to work.
All right. So,
all right, who starts first?
Should I go first?
Yeah, you're
right.
We're in Albany. We're in your town.
Yeah, my neck of the woods. All right. So you're going to pay attention to the clock. And let's get this going. All right. So I'm going to Caucus Weekend, and I am bringing Assembly Member Rodney's Bichot.
But we said A.
Assembly member? Okay, turn this shit off.
Well, isn't everybody an assembly member?
No, some are senators.
Okay, well then I can't use assembly member again, I guess. Thanks for using that.
Should have went first.
Okay, so, all right, so I'm going to Caucus Weekend, and I am bringing.
We're gonna do a countdown. I'm not using this.
I'm not playing that game with this phone. All right, y'all, we playing this by ear now. I'm going to Caucus Weekend, and I'm bringing Assembly Member Rodney's Bichot and Assembly Member Rodney's Bichot and Senator Jamal Bailey.
Okay,
Bailey.
All right. I am going to Caucus Weekend, and I am bringing Assembly Member Rodney's Bichot, Senator Bailey, Assemblywoman Cook.
I'm going to Caucus Weekend, and I'm bringing Assembly Member Rodney's Bichot, Senator Bailey, Vivian Cook, and Taylor Darling.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Ah, yes.
All right.
Remember that last minute. Also because she's having a lit time this weekend. I'm loving her energy.
Yes.
Minus the Bloomberg endorsement.
Yes. Okay. I am going to caucus weekend, and I am bringing Assembly Member Bichat, Senator Bailey, Assemblywoman Cook, Assemblywoman Darling, and also former Assemblywoman Earlene Hooper.
Are we going back like old school?
She's a caucus. She was a caucus member.
What comes after? Sorry, guys, I did not
F
go to school.
comes after
F, all right.
E.
I'm going to.
It's
Okay,
easy.
I'm going to be drinking now. I can tell now. I'm going to caucus weekend. I'm bringing Assemblymember Bichat. Wow, Assembly being the name. I'm gonna just say Assembly Member, because that's weird. Assembly Member Bichat. I'm bringing Senator Bailey, Assembly Member Cook, Assembly Member Darling, Assembly Member Earlene Hooper. What comes after F? And Assembly Member
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Oh, now I remember how we did this.
Come
It was if you
on.
lost 3 times, if you drank 3 times, you lost.
Then you lost, yeah. I don't know how you messed this one up, but it's all right. I'm going to do F.
You gonna do F? Okay.
I'll do F. All right. I'm going to caucus weekend, and I am bringing Assemblymember Bichat, Senator Bailey, Assemblywoman Cook, Assemblywoman Darling, Assemblywoman Earlene
I
Hooper,
really wish you didn't say Bichat.
Assemblyman Fall.
Oh yeah, shout out to Charles
Shout
Fall.
out to Charles Fall.
Yeah, what a wonderful.
And the Staten Island party last night.
What a wonderful assembly member. I'm going to caucus weekend, and I'm bringing Assembly Member. We're just gonna say Assembly Member. I'm bringing Senator Bailey. I'm bringing Assembly Member Cook. I'm bringing
3,
I
2,
can't remember.
1, and
Wait, what was
a lot
that?
of hesitation there. You got to drink. That was Darling. D.
Oh yeah,
Darling.
that was mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's 2
I'm
drinks.
All right, no more.
One more, and you're out.
Okay.
All right, my go. Wait,
Well,
so
now-
I did F before, so now I got to do G.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to caucus weekend. I'm bringing Assembly Member. I'm bringing Senator Bailey, Assemblywoman Cook, Assemblywoman Darling, Assemblywoman Earlene, Assemblyman Fall, Assemblyman Gant.
Is that a person?
Yeah. He's our
Okay.
Assemblyman from Rochester,
All right.
who's
I'm
retiring this year.
All right, I'm going to caucus weekend, and I am bringing Assembly Member. I'm bringing Senator Bailey. I'm bringing Assembly Member Cook. I'm bringing Assembly Member Darling. I'm bringing Assembly Member former Earlene Hooper. I'm bringing Assembly Member Fall. Shout out to Charles Fall. I'm bringing and then I'm bringing Assembly Member Gant, and I am going to bring Speaker Hasty.
There you go. All right. Okay. All right. I'm going to caucus weekend, and I'm bringing Assembly Member. I'm bringing Senator Bailey. I'm bringing Assembly Member Cook. I'm bringing Assembly Member Darling. I'm bringing Assembly Member Earlene Hooper. I'm bringing Assembly Member Fall. Assembly Member Gant. Speaker Hasty. Future Legislator Ishmael.
No,
Can we
nigga.
do that?
Just drink your beverage. Drink a beverage. Have a sip. Just have a sip.
I'm gonna go ahead and finish this because
You drink it. Yeah, have your sip.
I'm gonna win.
All right, I'm gonna. Well, you now have 1 drink.
Mhm.
I have 2.
You have two.
All right, I'm going to.
So are you gonna do I then?
Yeah, I guess I'll do I.
I feel like the one I use should be fair, but okay, fine.
I'm going to caucus weekend, and I bring Assembly Member Senator Bailey, Assembly Member Cook, Assembly Member Darling, former Assembly Member Earlene Hooper, Assembly Member I can't remember.
F.
Assembly Member Charles Fall, Assembly Member Assembly Member Gant, Speaker Hasty, and then Assembly Member Inez Dickens. Inez.
Damn. Okay, so okay. I am going to caucus weekend, and I am bringing Assembly Member Senator Bailey, Assemblywoman Cook, Assemblywoman Darling, former Assemblywoman Earlene Hooper, Assemblyman Fall, Assemblyman Gant, Speaker Hasty, Assemblywoman Inez Dickens, and also Assemblywoman Jean Pierre. That one just came to me. Assemblywoman from Suffolk County.
Okay. All right. Woo, we're getting deeper.
I
All right.
know. Shit, we
going
done
to
made it this far.
I'm going to caucus weekend. I am bringing an assembly member. I'm bringing Senator Bailey. I'm bringing Assembly Member Cook. I'm bringing Assembly Member Darling. Assembly Member Erlene Hooper. Assembly Member Fall. Assembly Member Gant. Speaker Hasty. Assembly Member Inez Dickens. Assembly Member Jean Pierre. And Assembly Member Corinne Reyes. Woo!
It's actually Carina's.
Karina,
right?
whatever. Come on.
Fine,
Clean
we'll,
it.
we'll let you have it. Okay. I am going to caucus weekend, and I am bringing assembly members. I'm bringing Senator Bailey, Assemblywoman Cook, Assemblywoman Darling, Assemblywoman Erlene Hooper, Assemblyman Fall, Assemblyman Gantz, Speaker Hasty, Assemblywoman Inez Dickens, Assemblywoman Jean Pierre, Assemblywoman Carines Reyes, and also Assemblywoman Latoya Joyner.
Wait, we got.
That's
Wait.
L. H-I-J.
Oh, yeah, because that's a Korean. All right,
Okay.
L.
L.
Okay, M. All right, I'm going
Damn,
to.
this is deep.
I'm going to caucus weekend, and I'm bringing an assembly member.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just start saying the last name. Bailey, Bailey, Cook, Darling, Erlene.
Mm-hmm.
I should Fall. Gant. I really fuck up my alphabet.
Go on.
Gant, Hasty, Inez, Jean Pierre, Carines. Wait, what comes after K?
Three, 2, 1.
la-
That's it. L for loser.
Wow.
Take your drink.
L for a future assembly member. Man, L? That would have been your fucking answer, you fuck up.
Yet you're the loser. So wait,
All
no,
right.
you. All right.
All right, so we got
That was the game.
Got some. Yeah, it was a game. Did y'all have fun?
Oof, that was a
that was a hard
deep.
one. That was a
Yeah.
deep one.
That's what she said.
So, just a couple of housekeeping rules.
Housekeeping notes. We
As
have
usual.
some new patrons.
Woo,
Appreciate
thank
y'all.
Thank
Keep
y'all.
on swiping those Metro cards. $2.75 a month.
Swipe them metros.
Mm-hmm. But as you know, for those of you who join on patreon.com/houseparty, you get some really exclusive shit. You get our feature session, which is the second session that we drop almost weekly.
Yeah, weekly-ish.
Weekly-ish with a special guest that we bring to the studio and sit down with. So stay tuned for the next one of those. But we got 2 new patrons. First one is Saif L. Shout out to Saif. And the next one is Jesse T. Shout out to Jesse.
Shout out to Jesse and Saif.
So
So y'all go become patrons, and also make sure as usual to follow us on stuff, and stay
Like the
abreast.
show,
Like us,
subscribe,
subscribe us, rate us 5 stars, and
give us
also
a rating.
we're on Twitter, we're on Insta, we're always constantly having conversations and shit.
things.
So share things, talk to us, we will talk back. And until next week.
Yeah, catch you next week, y'all.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of House Party. Keep that same energy by following us on Facebook and Twitter at HousePartyNY or Instagram at HouseParty.ny.
And of course, you can always hit us up by email at housepartyny@gmail.com or check out our website at housepartyny.com.
Don't keep your love for House Party a secret. Be sure to tell all your friends about the show, leave us a review, rate us all the stars, and download House Party on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your pods.
That's it for this episode, so you don't gotta go home.
But you gotta get the hell up out of here.
House party done.
Shall never be the same.